population forecasting method. Now in today's class, we will start with incremental increase method. So let us try to understand what is incremental increase method all about. Now this method is a sort of modification of arithmetic increase method which we discussed first. And what happens is this method is suitable for average size town under normal condition where the growth rate is found to be increasing in order. Fine. So in this case, the per decade growth rate is not assumed to be constant. It is progressive. So that might be in increasing or decreasing, but that is considered. So the growth rate is not assumed to be constant, which is very important to remember over here. While adopting this method, the increase in increment is considered for calculating future populations. So obvious, if you are not considering the growth rate is constant, then you need to consider the increase. So that means that would reflect the per decade growth rate, which is not constant and which we are going to calculate for subsequent decades, fine, based on the data which are available from the census. So the incremental increase is determined for each decade from the past population, and the average value is added to the present population along with the average rate of increase. So you have to remember then while calculating the population or while predicting the population by arithmetic increase method, we simply added one term with the P0. Here in this case, we'll have two terms to be added with the P0. So let us see how this incremental increase method works. Now population after nth decade can be expressed as Pn equals to P plus n into x plus n into n plus 1 by 2 into y. So this is the formula which is actually adopted, and where we can define Pn, you all know, x is average increase and y is incremental increase. So in arithmetic increase, we have actually calculated this arithmetic increase method which we discussed. So there we calculated the average increase. Now in this case, we will be calculating the incremental increase. So how is it obtained? We are going to see that now. So y is the basically, if I say the year, and then we have the number of population P over here, and then we have the subsequent data like this, and we have here the population data corresponding to each decade. So as we had seen that average increase we calculated, so P, if I say P, so this is P1, this is P1, this is P2, so P2 minus P1. So the first cell remains vacant, because we don't have anything over here to write. So corresponding to second decade, we would get the value of X. Whereas if you see in case of incremental increase, so that is basically in incremental increase we say x2 minus x1. So in this case, first two cells will be vacant. Hope you are able to understand, because until and unless you get two x values, you need two number of x values, that is x1 and x2. So x1 is basically, x1 is here I can write x1 is equals to P2 minus P1, whereas x2 is equals to P3 minus P2. So likewise, you need 3p value to calculate 2x. Sorry, this is our x and this is our x2. So fine. Now what we are going to calculate is y. So y will be x2 minus x1. So if you put the value of x2 and x1, you will see that we have 1, 2, 3 population data required. So when you calculate the y1 over here, so first two rows will remain vacant. So we are not going to write anything. Third cell, we would be able to obtain the value of y. Fine. So total population can be calculated as P1 equals to P0 plus x bar plus y bar. Fine. and p2 p1 plus x plus 2 into y bar, as per this formula. If you take this formula, so and we can get like this. Now p3 will be p2 plus x bar plus 3y. Now the p2 is basically, again we can write like this. Fine. So the entire process, how we are going to get this. So n into n plus 1. So that is what, by 2. That is what we are going to get. So that, through that formula, if we calculate p3, we'll get p0 plus 3x plus 6y. So how 6y? So here in this case we have n equals to 3. So that means it will be 3 into 3 plus 1 by 2 into y. So that is basically 6y. Likewise, you can calculate without making the table. However, we always suggest you to do this particular problem in tabular form. This is very, very convenient. Someone is waiting, just 1 second. Anyway, let me go back to my slide. Hope all of you have understood how the population can be predicted through incremental increase method. And with this, we'll try to solve this particular problem. The problem which I discussed in the previous class, you consider the same data and try to solve this problem through incremental increase method. Fine. So what we are going to do in this case, I just discussed with you. So what we are going to do, this part, you all know, right? We have calculated this part in arithmetic increase method. That is the first method which I discussed in the last class. So according to that, you can calculate the x bar, and then comes the incremental increase method. So you need to calculate this incremental increase method as I had discussed. So I want to get the answer from all of you, and if you have any problem, any issues while understanding, you can let me know. Hope all of you have understood the arithmetic incremental increase method, which I just discussed just now. So just solve this problem simultaneously. Your understanding would be better, and you will never forget the difference between these population forecasting methods, which we discussed in last class, as well as we are discussing in today's class. So the table which I made in the last class, similarly you make that kind of table over here. In the first row, you have, in the first column you have year, then you have population, then you have increase, that is x, and then you have incremental increase, that is y. And please let me know the value of x bar and the value of y bar. I want to get that answer. Once you get the value of x bar and y bar, the rest of the problem is very simple. You can take that particular formula which I just discussed. This particular formula you can use, Pn equals to P plus Nx plus N into N plus 1 by Q into Y. So you can use that, and you will be able to get it. So please let me know what is the value of X bar and Y bar. So average increment and average incremental increase, both the value. All of you should do it and let me know the answer in the chat box. Take the data from the last problem which was given in yesterday's class. So how much is the value of y bar? X bar value is actually X bar value is actually calculated in yesterday's class. So all of you know that value. Now tell me the value of y bar. Has anyone got the answer? Okay, Rahul Kumar say this is the value of. So y bar value, Rahul, you have to check it again. Yes, this is correct. Ankit Raj, the value which you have written is correct for y bar. So x bar is known to you and y bar is known to you. Now you can calculate considering 2021 as n equals to 1, 2031 as n equals to 2, and 2041 as n equals to 3. X would be, Rahul, X would be similar to what we obtained in the last class. So you just check that value, it should be coming around 3,45,463. So X bar is not going to get changed. Only Y bar will be 87,729. That's correct. So you check your calculation again, Rahul Kumar, and then you calculate the final value of Y is okay. Akshay Kumar, it is correct. But then don't write in decimal, try to round it off in the next possible whole number. So you just write it as 87729. Hope I am audible to all of you and you are able to follow me what I am telling. If any one of you are having any problem, please let me know. The answer given written by Savita is correct for 2021. So similarly, you can calculate the value of 31 and 41. What about others? I've got only 3. Total we have 71 present in today's class and I have only got response from 3 of you. So hurry up and give me the answers. Yes, this is correct. If anyone of you are having any problem, please let me know. This is very simple problem. Yeah, this is correct now, Rahul. Yeah, so you can now calculate the value of P21, P31 and P41. Correct, Akash. You take 87729. It's correct, Labanna. So now you calculate the P, capital P. Good. I am happy that many of you have got the correct answer. So now calculate the final value of P21, 31 and 41 and let me know the value of them. Okay, fine. So I guess we should proceed. Rest of you people can do it as most of you have already got the value of x and y. The rest of the problem is quite similar and you can check it over here. We have calculated the value. So n equals to 1 for P21, n equals to 2 for P31 and n equals to 3 for P41. So with this we will move to the next that is the simple graph method. And this method is not as convenient as the previous three methods, whereas this method demands very efficient judgment and as well as experience to execute population prediction by the help of these methods. Now let us try to understand what is this simple graph method and why it is not as sure sort as the last three which we discussed, because here we can have some variations depending upon several other factors, and let us discuss that. So basically in these particular methods, the population of last few decades are correctly plotted to a suitable scale on the graph. Fine. So you will plot the population with respect to number of years. Fine. So in x-axis you will have the years or decades, whatever you say, and in y-axis you will have the populations, and then whatever data you have obtained, you just plot them. So you should be getting a very smooth population curve. And if you are now asked to obtain the population of the next decade and next to next decade, you need to extend this graph. Now you can see this particular figure, you will be able to understand. So we have up to 2011 census data. So up to that we have obtained the smooth curve which is plotted over here, and then as you are asked to obtain the population of 2021 and 2031, it can be obtained by simply extending that particular curve further. But then this extension should be done carefully, and it requires proper experience and judgment. So you need to understand by seeing the nature of the curve and how it is increasing. So this is very much subjective, and if you give two different person, they can have a different extended portion from that graph, and both of them may have different logic for doing that. So that is why this particular method is subjective, and you can get some extent of variation while adopting simple graph method. Right? However, there are some benefit. So this particular method takes very less time, and it is used by engineers just to check the results which has been obtained by some other method. So you can do this quickly, and you can on field or while just for the sake of checking, you can use this particular method, and you can check the population which has been predicted by the help of some other method. And another one very important points which needs to be kept in the mind while using simple graph method is that while applying this method, and while extending the part just to get the predicted population in the future decades, the curve which we extend can be compared with the population curve of some other similar cities which are having similar kind of growth conditions. So that's a very pertinent way to make simple graph method much more reliable, we can say. So with this, we'll go to decreasing rate of growth method. Now decreasing rate of growth method is that is also important method, and so what is done in this decreasing rate of growth method, you all can see over here. Now, since the rate of increase in population goes on reducing as the cities reach towards the saturation, so that the population S curve, which we actually discussed in the previous class, if you can remember that there was a point where the population can reach to the saturation for a particular city. Now, once it reach towards that saturation, then the increase in population goes on reducing, and same thing we discussed. So the rate of increment reduces, and a method which makes use of this decrease in the percentage increase is many a times used and gives quite rational results, and that is what actually we are doing here in this particular decreasing rate of growth method. Now, the average decrease in the percentage increase is worked out in this case, and then subtracted from the latest percentage increase for each successive decade. And this method is, however, applicable only in case of where the rate of growth shows a downward trend. So in a particular city which is tend to reach to its saturation as far as population is concerned, only can be relevant, or for those particular type of cities it would be pertinent to use decreasing rate of growth method. Fine. So just for working out the problem I have given over here, so you can calculate the or predict the population for 1980s and 2000. Please work out this problem. So in this case what we have to do is, now we will get the population, and once we get the population we will get the increase in population. Fine. So increases population will get, and then percentage increase in population. So that is what also has to be calculated. So if I can show it over here, so the same kind of column we are going to make, which we did in previous case. So we'll have year over here, we'll have population over here, and we'll have the increase in population over here. And now we are going to calculate the percentage increase. So percentage increase in the fourth column. So percentage increase is nothing but the x1 by P1 into 100. So that is what is the percentage which we are going to obtain. So if we take this as I1, so for each x1 will get one I1. So maybe for P1 and P2 will get x1 and we'll get I1. Next we'll have to make a column. Here we'll have to work out the decrease in the percentage increase. Try to understand this decrease in percentage increase. So what we are going to do over here, we are going to calculate I2 minus I1. Fine. So we'll write within bracket, the answer will be written, or since we are taking decrease as positive, you can write in this way, I1 minus I2. So this would give you directly in terms of minus. Fine. Understood? So if you get a growth, so it will be showing over here as negative. If you get a decrease, it will be positive over here. Understood what I discussed? If you are unable to understand, I can tell again, but please let me know. Or if you have understood, please work out this particular problem. Okay, I should not give you the entire answer. So first you calculate what I told, like this, ypx, and you can calculate the percentage increase in population and decrease in the percentage increase, and let me know the answers. So what we are going to do is, if we see over here, we'll get some I value, I1, I2, I3. Fine. So once we get I value, we are going to get the average I. So that is, I can write that I bar. So that is basically summation of I by n. So once we get that value, we can easily calculate with the from, so our P0 is the last population based on the census data, right? Last population based on the census data, and our I is basically the last I which we should be considering. So the formula would become, let me write here, so I, whatever I you get, so the last I n. So what we are going to do, we are going to write the final P would be P n equals to P0 plus, so I n minus I bar by 100 into P0. Fine. When we calculate the second, means this is that immediate, maybe in this case we'll be calculating 1980s. So in that case this is 1980s. Now once we calculate the next one for next decade, then the value which we obtained in the Pn1 we say, so in that case P0 is equals to Pn1. Fine, that you have to keep in your mind. And as well as the I would be, so this one would become your IN2. Understood? For the second case. So Pn1 plus, we'll write here IN2 minus I bar by 100 into Pn1. Is that clear? Hope all of you have understood what I am trying to tell. If this is clear, try to solve the problem. Or if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. Yeah, so now I would like to get the increase in population value, or let me know the value of IN, sorry, the last I means I corresponding to 1970s, and at the same time you just let me know the value of I bar. Okay, so someone has written I1 is 12, I2 is 21.4, I3 is 23.5. very good, this is correct, and I4 is 11.9. so while calculating the, what I, let me check what I, how did I denote this, I forgot, let me check it. So this is the I1, and here we are mentioning as decrease in percentage increase. So if I write that I bar, so please calculate that, but remember, in case of decrease, so increase is negative and decrease is positive. Yes, yes, correct, Janvi Singh, it is correct. Yes, Ankit, now here the catch is decrease, yeah, that is not correct. So since it is increasing, so 9.42 and 2.08 or 2.1, these two will be negative. Fine. And 11.9, as it is decreasing, it will be positive. Fine. Hope you have understood. When we are taking decrease as positive, so from 12 to 21.4, so that means 9.4, this is negative because decrease is positive. Here it is not decreasing, here it is increasing. The percentage value is increasing. Next, in the second case, again it is increasing from 21.4 to 23.5. That is why in the second case also it will be negative 2.1. In the third case, we have straight away decrease, means 23.5% to 11.9%. So in that case, in the third case, we will have 11.6, that is positive. And yes, average decrease is positive, it is not negative. Average decrease, average increase is negative. Akshay Kumar, you have to understand this. Rahul, it is correct, yes. So average decrease has to be positive here in this problem. Ankit, average decrease is positive and this is correct. 0.03 or 0.33, whatever you take, this is correct. Yeah. Good. So now, once you have obtained this value, you can now calculate the value of population of 1980s. So in this case, your P0 would become 47,000. Your IN would be 11.9 and your I bar would be 0.03. So IN minus 0.03 and P, actually I have already told P0 would be 47,000. Yes, so in 19 this would be 52,579, whatever. That is correct. Akshay Kumar, the answer is correct. So in the second case, those who have completed the value corresponding to P 1980, for them I am telling now, in the second case, your P0 becomes this value which you have obtained, 52,570 or 579, whatever it is. So this becomes your P0 in the second case. Whereas your IN becomes the I which you are going to take now, IN becomes the what I you have obtained in the previous case. So I have told, like, if you go back and if you check, just let me show you my slides where I have explained. Yeah, so this I would become, you see over here, this I would become, in the second case, your IN2 would be IN1 minus I bar. So this is your IN2, right? So in the second case, you would have to take IN2 as 11.87 and I bar would remain same for each case. Hope this is understood. So this is also correct, Akshay Kumar. The value of 1990 is also correct. What about others? Rahul Kumar also says, yeah, the value is correct, Rahul. What about others? Yes, correct. What about others? What about others? Any problem, anyone? Please let me know. Ankit, have you got the value? Okay. What about Janvi, Sabita? You all were also doing? Have you obtained the value? Yeah, this is correct, Snehi. Now, those who have completed, just try to answer one of my question, or what I would like to ask all of you. Just try to tell me what is the issue with this particular problem based on the conditions of applying decreasing rate of growth method. If we consider that, What is the issue with this particular problem? Is this problem suitable for applying decreasing rate of growth method? If yes, why? If no, why? This is the question you should answer to me. Those who have finished, you can try to answer this.
So this method is applicable only when the means rate of growth is in downward trend, means when it is decreasing.
Very good. That means this particular problem, for this particular problem, strictly we should not adopt this particular method of decreasing rate of growth method. Why? Because if you see the I value in the first three cases, we see a clear increase in the percentage increase in the population. So I2 is greater than I1, I3 is greater than I2. So when we calculate the value of decrease in the percentage increase in the initial two cases, we get negative, which is not desirable while predicting population through decreasing rate of growth method. Since this problem was given to all of you to solve through this method, just for the sake of practice, you have done it. But in practice, you need to consider all those aspects before taking the most suitable methodology for calculating the population. Hope this is understood to all of you. Akshay, what you have written is correct, to some extent. In old cities where we can ensure that the population is already reaching towards the saturation. So now for that case, the decreasing rate will continually that will get increased. But here in this case, our increase is increasing for first three cases. So anyway, from this answer, I can ensure that all of you have understood this problem. So let me show you those who could not do it yet. So this is the thing which I wanted to tell you, and this is the way we can calculate. So here you see percentage increase is increasing 12 to 21, 21 to 23.5. In the last decade it is decreasing, fine, 11.9, and that is why we get increase or a positive in decrease in the last decade. So if we have to calculate P1980, P1990 and P2000, we can obtain through the formula which I discussed before. Hope all of you have understood. Any issues associated with any of the logic which we applied for solving through these two methods? If any one of you are having any problem, don't keep any inhibition, just directly ask me. I would like to sort it out here itself. So if any one of you are having any issue in understanding how we are conducting this prediction processes, you should ask me. Any problem? Any questions? Okay, no questions. So I don't want to start the next method because it would take some 15-20 minutes to discuss. So we'll stop here today, and in next class we'll start with the next method of population prediction. If you have any questions, please ask me, or I will stop this session.